Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is promising to intensify her crackdown on immigration. It comes less than a week after an Afghan national allegedly ambushed two National Guard members. 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom was killed, and Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf remains hospitalized in serious condition. Here is what Noem posted on X Monday evening. Quote, "I am recommending a full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies," end quote. Here with more details is Sarakshi Rai, The Hill's deputy managing editor. Hey, Sarakshi. So back in June, the White House restricted migration from 19 countries, including Afghanistan. Now there's talk of expanding that list. Has the administration given any indication for when we could see a revised list? And what other immigration crackdowns has the Trump administration implemented since the shooting?
That's right. So the president has yet to mention this travel ban that Kristi Noem kind of hinted at in her X post, but he did repost her post, right? And now the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has advocated for a new travel ban on visitors from an unspecified number of countries following the shooting and the death in Washington, D.C. of a National Guard member by an alleged Afghan national. Now, we know that Noem has posted her proposal to X on Monday night, and this is after she said she had spoken with President Trump. And we know, let's not forget, if you look at his first term travel ban on 7 Muslim countries, it faced widespread criticism and followed a rocky legal path before it was eventually upheld by the Supreme Court. Now, Kristi Noem has advocated for a new travel ban on visitors from this unspecified number of countries. So basically, what we now know is that, it's still up in the air. They're still trying to figure it out. But new reports suggest that this initial list, this Trump administration is considering expanding this initial travel ban list, which currently restricts or bars the entry of nationals from 17 countries to around 30 countries in wake of the shooting of the 2 National Guard members. And this is all coming in as we speak right now today. So a lot to look out for on this front, Drew.
And Secretary Noem told NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday that she believed the alleged shooter had been radicalized after arriving in the U.S. and placed blame on the Biden administration. What do we know about the timeline of when the suspect resettled here in the U.S.?
That's right. So if you look back to 2021, the Biden administration brought some 76,000 Afghan refugees to the United States. Now, according to the report at the time by the Department of Homeland Security, it is likely that the suspect officials have identified as Ramanullah Lankanwal was one of only 3,300 of those refugees that year that were granted a special immigrant visa, a document that would have expedited his entry because of his employment with the CIA and other U.S. agencies. Now, we also know that officials say that Lankanwal came to the U.S. from Afghanistan in 2021 during the Biden administration and applied for asylum in 2024. Now, we also know from 3 law enforcement sources that Lankanwal was granted asylum in April 2025 under President Donald Trump. FBI Director Kash Patel has also said in a news conference that the Biden administration did absolutely zero vetting of these refugees. Now, that isn't quite accurate, but there are some questions that remain around how thorough the vetting process would have been for Lankanwal in 2021 and again this year when the Trump administration granted him asylum. And we do know that now, there's a renewed focus, and all of the Afghan refugees who were granted access to the United States and given asylum here are now subject to another round of vetting as well, and additional vetting by the Trump administration, Drew.
And Noem also said in her X post that we don't want them, not one of them. Trump has spoken of reverse migration and that he intended to permanently pause migration from what he calls third world countries. What has the reaction been from Republicans to these comments?
The Republicans have really doubled down on Kristi Noem's stance as well as President Trump and the Trump administration's stance, right? They're calling for more immigration restrictions. They're calling for, more vetting for anyone let into the United States. And this is also not far from the White House point of view. We know that, there have been multiple ex posts from Republicans as well who've called the alleged Afghan shooter a terrorist who shot 2 National Guard heroes. They say that he was welcomed into this country, with open arms by Joe Biden, and that's something that Tommy Tuberville, a senator from Alabama, who wrote on X shortly after the shooting. We've also heard from others who said that, the U.S. must immediately ban all Islam immigrants and deport every single Islamist who is living among us just waiting to attack, and that's also from Tommy Tuberville. We've also heard from lawmaker Mary Miller, who is from Illinois, who said in a post online saying, deport them all now. So we know that the Republicans are doubling down on this stance by Kristi Noem as well as the Trump administration to really crack down on immigration and who basically is given access to this country via asylum measures or other immigration measures. Drew.
All right, this is a story that we will continue to follow, but for now we will leave it at that. Sarakshi Rai, thanks so much for your time.